There's a lot of legendary weapons in Borderlands 4, but here are what I think is the best. Don't forget to leave your favorite weapons down in the comments below. When you take a look at the TK's Wave legendary shotgun, the DPS is insane. It does 7,600 damage per second, on mine at least, plus 96% crit damage. The possibility to do almost 19,000 damage per shot plus a large crit damage bonus on top of that, meaning that mine can do 37,000 damage per shot, is just crazy. So why does this weapon not get talked about that often? The biggest thing keeping it from being the best weapon in the game is the waving pellets. It's basically the tidal wave from Borderlands 2. I think there was also the wave shotgun in Borderlands 1 as well. They're cool because they ricochet around, but not enough for it to be worth the loss of accuracy that some of the other weapons that I think are slightly better have the potential to deal. If you really learn the distance that you need to accurately hit enemies with it or even headshot them at multiple ranges, then it might be close to the best weapon in the game. If you don't even hit a crit, it still does 20k damage if every pellet hits. You know, if you're touching tips with an enemy, barrel stuffing them, it does insane damage because you can't really miss. Just get in close and it's hard to go wrong. For big beefy slow moving bosses or things like that, this is probably the hardest hitting weapon in the game to use since it's hard to miss with it. Plus it's Jacob's, so headshots ricochet if you do use it in crowded areas. You can get TK's Wave shotgun from the north end of Carcadia Burns, and this is where you can find the Trinket Crevice Auger Mines. If this place is red and locked up for you, you can't get in, you just need to progress the story and beat the Shadow of the Mountain quest. Then you can come back over here to the Trinket Crevice Auger Mines, where inside you can find a boss named Rock'n'Roller. Defeating them will give you a chance for the legendary Wave shotgun to drop. You know, just keep farming the boss, hit the Moxie station, and they'll have a chance to drop it. The Kickballer is a pretty crazy weapon. The shots go wherever they decide to go, but in a crowd or against a boss, it doesn't even matter. You barely have to aim. Not that you even can really aim. If you want to, just aim more at the ground and try not to blow yourself up. But that's the best way to kind of hit where you want to hit, because the shots bounce around exploding each time they land, and if you can angle it somewhat underneath a big enemy, the blast radius just melts them. It doesn't even matter how close you are. These weapons were kind of hard to rank. You can't really go wrong with any weapon I talk about here, but I also wanted to not bring up weapons that are like literally broken and going to be patched soon. You know, kind of like the Jacob's Knife Kickballer combo. It's probably the most overpowered thing in the game right now, but regardless of that and whether or not that will get patched, the Kickballer is still a crazy strong weapon without that combination. And I don't even necessarily think that's really overpowered. If you go for any specific build in this game with any of these weapons on this video, they melt everyone. You can get Kickballer as a random drop from the boss named Sludgemaw found over in the Fade Fields. This boss doesn't become available until after the side quest called All Charged Up, which also isn't available until after completing the Null and Void side quest, which you can start by speaking to Rush near the launch pad. After you complete Null and Void, All Charged Up starts from the point where Null and Void ended, and that will take you to Sludgemaw. Another legendary weapon that's good for crowd control, but also really good at defeating whoever you throw it at, is the Torgue linebacker shotgun. It comes in various different elements, including kinetic, which will generally do more damage to make up for not having an element, but I highly recommend going for one of the elemental ones if you can get it to drop. Similar to the Kickballer, the more it bounces, the damage and damage radius increase per bounce. Each drop varies in its splash radius, so make sure you inspect the weapon and look at how wide your radius is. I think they might just give you a wider radius on the non-elemental linebacker, but no matter what, you just keep on shooting this thing. Just one shot, where all of these grenades shoot out, only costs one shotgun ammo, so you kind of feel like you have infinite ammo. You just keep on spraying everywhere and enemies just disappear. To have the best chance of getting the linebacker to drop, you want to farm the Sky Spanner Cratch boss fight over in the Lambent Mines of Cuspid Climb. He's like a minorly annoying boss fight, but nothing too crazy. The legendary Vladov Stopgap Sniper is hardly a sniper at all. It's an automatic weapon that gets stronger the longer that you shoot it, but at the same time, the rate of fire gets slower, and that's actually pretty helpful. I'm not really using any buffs in the majority of these gameplay clips that would make these weapons deal even more damage, so you could even do even more than what you're seeing in this video, but regardless, it still just rips apart everything in front of it. The downside is that if you want to get this buff where it becomes more powerful the longer that you shoot it, you have to hold down the trigger. When you stop, it resets, so it's best used for thick enemies like bosses or when you have a big crowd. For situations with larger groups of enemies, you want to just mow down the little guys while you're at that automatic portion of the magazine, and then try hitting the bigger ones with the final shots in the mag, because those last shots deal 750% damage. Those last few shots just hit harder than possibly anything else in the game. To get the stopgap sniper, you can farm the Baghive boss fight by using Moxie's station, which you can find in the claim, the name of an auger mine found in the dissected plateau of the Fade Fields. This is like the first auger mine that you probably came across when you started the game, but you can't enter until you progress some of the story, where the red wall that was blocking your entrance will disappear or turn blue. But that is the best way to get the stopgap sniper. The legendary bod shotgun is a must-have weapon for just about anybody. Even though it's called a shotgun, it counts as any weapon: assault rifle, shotgun, sniper, SMG, and pistol. So anything that buffs up either of those things buffs up the bod, which is a lot. You can deal some immense damage with this weapon, and you don't even necessarily have to pay too much attention to your build. If an item applies a weapon type effect of any kind, it'll help the bod. Any weapon type challenge is progressed with the bod as well. Eliminating an enemy will contribute to the elimination count on pistols, snipers, all of them. It helps out any possible build. Like if you're using Vex, the bod shotgun is a must-have weapon. It pairs really well with the Vex's Undead Eye legendary class mod, which is one of the best things to have for her, and you can use the legendary bod instead of a sniper to trigger the bloodshot. The easiest way to get the bod legendary shotgun is to farm the boss named Axmal. He is located over in the Carcadia district, the Dominion city, over in the abandoned auger mine called the Toil of Spoiling Viz. The mines for this location is kind of hard to mark on the map. It doesn't really want to track most of the time, and it's probably the only real confusing boss fight to get to. So just follow my route if you're having trouble. The most underrated weapon in Borderlands 4 right now, I think, is the Oscar Mike Legendary Assault Rifle. It shoots like a frickin' space laser down onto enemies and just annihilates them. By default, not counting any other bonuses you might have, the space laser deals 16,000 damage every 0.2 seconds by itself, and that regenerates every minute. It is bananas. Some variants deal slightly less at 14,000 per second, but the best Oscar Mike that I've been able to get with the space laser is 18,500 damage every 0.2 seconds, which is just crazy, man. There's another drop variant as well, where instead of a space laser, you shoot frag-centenary grenades. That thing is really good against red health bars, but the space laser is just the best possible drop in my opinion. But the regular old assault rifle by itself also deals a crap ton of damage. So these two things combined just melt enemies. To get it, you can farm the Genome boss fight over in Lopside Carcadia Burns, but that will not spawn until after you've done the Fault Hunting side quest, sadly. This is started at the Society for Amateur Seismology Enthusiasts over in the ruined Sumplands by speaking to Leopold. If this isn't here, you just need to progress the story until it pops up. But yeah, now you should be melting everyone. One of the hardest hitting, highest damage per second weapons in Borderlands 4 is yet another Jacob's weapon, the Rainbow Vomit Shotgun. And unlike most Jacob's weapons, this one actually does elemental damage. It actually does every elemental damage almost. It shoots out rainbow vomit particles of 3 different elements. The elements that you get just depend on that drop, while also having the Jacob's ricochet effect. So like regular Jacob's weapons being versatile against any type of enemy's health bar, this one is even more so. If you want to truly maximize damage, you can get different variants that are good with different elements and carry specific ones for different health bars. For example, I have one that deals corrosive, cryo, and shock. Corrosive and cryo are both good for armor, so it melts through that yellow health bar. The shock is still insanely good at taking out blue health bars, and the cryo also deals health damage. This one goes really good against the synth enemies since they have the blue shield and then armor. I have another one where all 3 elements contribute to health damage: cryo, incendiary, and radiation. Radiation and cryo are both good at taking out yellow and blue health bars, but they also are the 2 elements that don't get a big debuff when attacking red health bars, so this thing shreds red health. You get this weapon from world drops and world bosses, but the most reliable way to farm for it is through the Leader Willem boss fight over in Carcadia Burns' Carcadia City. To unlock this boss fight, you first need to do like a series of 5 different side quests. It is probably the longest string of quests that you'll have to do to unlock a Moxie Station boss fight. It starts with a side mission called Enter the Electi Part 1, and this side quest is unlocked during the Unpaid Tab story mission. This is where you'll find Leader Cassandra waiting to give you a task and yap unskippable dialogue for an hour, but luckily all of the following side quests are given to you in that same exact location on the map. They might have different quest givers, but it's Enter the Electi Part 1, and then 2, The Council Divided, and then you have a Traitor Within, followed by the final quest, The Mole's Gambit. Do those and you unlock the Willem boss fight Moxie Station so that you can farm that boss fight and get the Rainbow Vomit shotgun. So my next weapon, and what I think is one of the best weapons in the game, it might be a hot take. Some of you guys might think there's better weapons out there, but I think the Jacob's Truck Sniper is arguably, and not, I guess, even really arguable, the best sniper in Borderlands 4. At least the highest damage one. Possibly the highest damage weapon in the game, per single shot. It does what it says. It hits like a freaking truck. And it's Jacob's, so headshot one enemy, and another one is also getting hit like a truck as well. If you have enhancements that do more ricochets, it's even more ridiculous. If you're wondering about the Fixer-Upper legendary trait that it has on it, it seems to be referencing the insane amount of crit damage that it does, but the crit damage is also completely RNG. I've seen variants only have like 70% crit damage, and the highest seems to be 146%. Who knows if that's even what the legendary effect even means, because they put no description on it. I don't know why half of these have that, but the Truck Sniper can be obtained from the Bio Thresher Omega boss fight. To unlock that boss, you need to complete 2 side quests, 1 gassy issue and then 1 slimy issue. Both of them are given to you by Beth in the Fades District in Dominion. Neither of these will pop up until after the main mission called Means of Ascent, which is pretty deep into the story. I think it's like 3/4 of the way through the game. I got insanely lucky because I swear this was the sniper that I got while farming Splash Zone in the starting area. So maybe I just got incredibly lucky. And it's also better than any variant that I've been able to get from the Bio Thresher Omega fight, but all of that is also just RNG. There's also a variant out there that comes with a Ripper magazine, which allows you to go full auto, but I have not found it yet. And you can also get this sniper from world bosses and just random drops. One of the best weapons that I don't see anyone talking about that is also a ton of fun to use is Wombo Combo. It does a ton of damage, comes in various elemental effects, or just the standard kinetic rounds as well. And while you're shooting, it also shoots out rockets by itself. You don't have to do anything, and these just destroy enemies. The elemental damage that it deals isn't generally insane. It's usually around a 10% chance for 300 damage per second, but a nice little bonus on top. Those rockets also deal almost 10 times the amount of damage that the weapon itself deals. It seems to scale based on the weapon that you get, the amount of damage that yours does. So things that buff the rate of fire for flat-off weapons, assault rifles, or just weapons in general are going to make a huge difference with the damage per second. I have found Wombo Combo from just a random drop. I think it was a like Bad Boy Psycho. But the most reliable way to get Wombo Combo is to farm the Rippa Roadbirds boss fights, which are 3 flying like boss enemies that each have a chance to drop it. So I think this is also one of the best farms in the game. But these guys are found at the Ripper drill site called Saw's Clench. It's in the northern section of the ruined swamplands. This is actually the first legendary weapon that I came across, and it seems to be like a higher chance drop in Carcadia Burns. I don't think you can even get it in another region. And finally, our number 1 weapon. Here we have the Slugger Shotgun. It's a single fire shotgun, but has an insane reload speed by default, a whopping amount of damage, and it's Jacobs, so criticals like headshots ricochet to other enemies. That's all crazy enough, but it also gets a 30% damage buff for each defeated enemy for 10 whole seconds, and that stacks up to 3 times for a 90% extra damage buff. So if you have a boss and a few fodder enemies, kill 3, which isn't hard to do with its ricochet shots, and now you're doing almost 20k damage per shot, and if you're shooting a boss, the shots are still ricocheting and taking out more enemies to buff up your damage and just keep that buff going. You don't even have to try to get it, you're just always going to have that damage buff since the bullets are ricocheting and it one-shots like everyone. I didn't even calculate the 20% extra crit damage that it also gives you as well. Not to mention that this thing also functions as a sniper with its slug. The biggest downside to shotguns is usually you have to be close to get every bit of damage, but not here. It doesn't have an element, but kinetic damage is good against every type of health bar in Borderlands 4, so it's just so much easier to use this without having to worry about which element to use on who. Just shoot everyone. I wasn't a big investor into reload speed buffs, but if you have any skills or enhancements that beef that up, even better, because that is our only bottleneck with this weapon. Also, a Jacobs enhancement to buff up the ricochet count will just destroy crowds of enemies. By the way, it reloads by itself after each shot, and it's fast. I was just letting it do that for the majority of my first playthrough. But actually pressing the reload button makes it reload much faster. I did not know that for the longest time. I typically only do this against like bigger boss enemies, because when I'm spamming the reload button, it makes me a little bit more inaccurate. Even if you happen to get the Slugger at a lower level, it will carry you through the next 10 or so levels at least. You could probably go like an extra 15 to 20, and then you can just farm for it again at level 50. There are multiple ways to get this legendary shotgun. I got mine in a vending machine, just a normal old vending machine in the launch pad. Thank God I had enough money for it. And this is the only legendary weapon I've found in a vending machine, so I guess I just lucked out. I wasn't even in the ultimate Vault Hunter rank or whatever. The actual way to get the Jacobs Slugger and farm for it is from the Craven's Nook bunker in the heart of the mountain from the Callous Harbinger of Annihilating Death's boss fight. If you see a legendary pop out, don't get your hopes up because it might be the Maliwan Kaleidoscope, which he also has a chance to drop, and I think that might be one of the worst weapons in the game for legendaries. But I promise, he also drops the Slugger. Just keep on farming him. The drop rate doesn't seem that low. I've gotten it a few times, but I've also farmed the heck out of these guys. Oh, by the way, to open that bunker, you might be a little confused if you haven't done it before. The Locust canister is off of the edge of the cliff right in front of the door. If you don't know what these are, you have to progress the story in order to use them. But there you go, there are my top 10, more like 12 or 13 weapons I have here. The best legendary weapons that I think are the best and also the most fun to use. Don't forget to leave your favorite weapons down in the comments. Thanks for watching. See ya.